If I was to be a critic of the stimulus program that the president put forward 2 years ago, it is that he should have invested more money in infrastructure. And when I talk about infrastructure, things to prevent road runoff, sewering, and alternative septic systems that better denitrify. Right now, your typical cesspool system, providing it was built in the last 30 years, you're getting maybe, under really optimum circumstances, 40 to 50 milligrams per liter of nitrogen out of that. A sewage treatment plant gets about 10 milliliters of nitrogen. To survive, aquamarine life needs 0.5. You do the numbers, and at some point, and by the way, everything runs one way or the other, either to the sound or to the bay. You do the numbers, and at some point, we're going to be dealing with nitrogen pollution. The only benefit is in Southold town, we don't have the density that they do to the west. And that's why all those western bays are impacted. Yes?
Yeah. I read an article in Newsday.
Leo, could you stand up so we can hear you? Stand up so we can hear you, Leo.
I read an article in Newsday about a year or so, and I saw a couple of statistics that 83% of the households in Suffolk County are on septic accounts. That does not count citizens or institutions, you know, the economy.
Yeah, about 75% at this point of the county is sewage. Not sewage. We pursued a policy that in retrospect doesn't make a lot of sense. I was a critic of it many years ago. I'm still a critic of it. After the Southwest Sewer District, which was mired in scandal in the 70s, sewer construction stopped. The county has 22 municipal sewer districts. There are another 185 sewer treatment plants that are privately owned, which the county has really no interest in taking over. So instead of thinking of sewering in a regional sense, what we did is we just went out there, and there's a lot of small, inefficient sewage treatment plants operating all over the county, including in Southold town. I don't know if that was the best way to approach it. We certainly didn't think regionally about that, or what areas should be addressed. Also, cesspools. I just bought a house 11 years ago. Before that, 22 years before that, I bought a house. When I bought the house, the builder never handed me, oh, by the way, here's a maintenance manual, how to maintain your septic cesspool system. Never got that. I don't think anyone in this room has ever got that. And yet, there's certain maintenance that should be done. Not being done. There's a lot of things that happen to cesspools and septics. And by the way, that's a technology that's 50 years old. There's better technologies out there. Myself, Kevin McAllister, who's the baykeeper, and Islip Councilwoman Trish Bergen, who used to be a reporter for News 12, earlier this year sponsored a seminar in the legislature for all the other vendors from other states that have much stricter nitrogen standards, like New Jersey and their pine barrens, from Maryland, from Massachusetts, to talk about alternative systems that would denitrify. And that's something, if you live on the water, you've got to think about. Because, and that's why I would encourage you to contact my office. Email me, and I'll email you the entire report. You can go through it and take a look at it, because it's a wake-up call. And I heard testimony on Thursday from our health department. Well, you know, we've done most of our construction in terms of building and cesspools, so we really won't have that much more of an impact. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. There is a map and chart in that report that talks about travel times. For those who live on the water, and I live pretty close to the water. I'm probably in the 0 to 5 year travel time. But for someone living in the middle of the island, not here at Southold because we have, you know, a narrow peninsula, but let's say you're in Brookhaven, in the middle island. Once you flush, depending on which side of the divide you're on, that's going to hit the bays or the sound. It's just a 25 year travel time. And that affects groundwater as well. And what you may not know, and this is important in Southold because you have a shallow aquifer. In Huntington and several western towns, they're blending their public water wells with the Suffolk County Water Authority because they can't meet standards on their own. So they have to blend them with water from other areas. So this report, and I know we were supposed to talk about erosion and things of that nature, but I think the quality of our underground water, because we depend on a sole source aquifer, the quality of our surface waters are related to how well we address that issue. And I know I've gone off topic, so forgive me. Let me take some other questions. Yes, sir.
Is there documented evidence that the nitrogen that goes into the septic system actually is in sound of the bay?
Yes, absolutely. That's why I encourage you to email me and get a copy of this report. Suffice it to say, and let me just sum up. As your legislator, I'm concerned about erosion. I'm definitely concerned about the Hashimama Cove area in the North Shore, as well as the South Shore of Southold Town. I'm concerned about the effects that, whether you accept that there's climate change, I don't know. I just know that waters are rising. I'm concerned about storms and their impact, and I want to make sure that people's property is protected. So I'm going to work on those issues. I'm also concerned about the quality of the water, and that's why I'm working with you and others with Goldsmith Inlet. I'm concerned generally about what we're going to do about our septic systems. And maybe one of the requirements, and I know I get some people in the building industry perhaps upset, but that alternative systems be looked at in terms of new construction so that they better denitrify waste. So I'm looking at that, and I'm working with the health department. I know with dredging, I view dredging as vital to a waterfront community as maintaining our roads. And I've pushed and I've worked, and I want to say again, I want to thank the trustees, Dave Bergen, I see Bob back there, I see others, for working on dredging issues, because that's key to our marine industry. And the last, yes?
Is private dredging permissible?
You have to get a permit, unfortunately. You got to go through the same thing the county goes through. And actually, the county actually had to hire experts because they've made it harder, much more difficult to get these permits. And some people may say rightly so, because they have to justify it, they have to do an environmental study. But yes, private dredging, I guess, would be permissible if you got the permits.
Is there somebody who can guide you through the way?
You probably would have to hire an environmental consultant to help you fill out those permits. That's how onerous that is. But Dave, do you want to answer that?
I can just give people, if they're interested, some general feedback on that process. But yes, it's a very complicated process.